Right, welcome to Comic Book Radio. I'm your host, Peter Samedi, and it is episode 68. Tonight, my guest is Elliot Rodriguez. We're going to be talking about learning to trust the creative process, taking a look at Elliot's artistic journey, and his growth towards creating his own comic. And we're also going to talk about, I don't know, Elliot, did you... I didn't tell Elliot I wanted to talk about this, but we're gonna. Those aliens in Peru. I have to pick his brain about that, but we'll get to that at the end. We got Bear in the chat. What's up, Bear? How you doing? Hope you're doing well. We got Jefferson Roswell tonight here as well. Mighty Joe. What's up, Mighty Joe? Hope you're doing good. Thanks for being with us tonight. Revan Saber. We also got Ichthys. What's up? Hope you're doing well. Jenko's here in the chat. What's up, Jenko? Hope you're having a great night. Real Steel. Jaded One as well. What's up, Jaded One? We also got Edwin in the chat. What's up, Edwin? Hope you're doing good. All right. Without further ado, let's bring on Mr. Elliot Rodriguez, the man of the hour. What's up, Elliot?
Hey, what's going on, man? Thank you very much for having me on the show. I love the
No problem.
intro. I love it. Love the clip selected for that.
Oh, yeah, you dig the intro?
Yeah, nice. Jose Canseco bad. Yeah, I love the turtles. Good stuff, man. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
you
man.
threw me a curveball with the space aliens thing too. I'm gonna I'll see what I can contribute to that conversation. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, it will be interesting because even if you don't know a whole lot about it, if you haven't heard a lot about it, that's interesting to me too.
Nice.
If I'm hearing more about what's happening in Peru in regards to aliens on jetpacks hovering around in the jungle, and
man.
you're like, what's going on?
Nice.
Then that's interesting to me.
Yeah,
Spaceman, what's up? Says, hey, Pete, love the king behind you. Can't wait for 5 to 9. Oh, thank you, Spaceman. Appreciate it. Cole King, what's up? Thank you for joining us tonight. But first things first, Elliot, I want to talk to you about, obviously, your path on, where you've been as an artist. I've seen your art, I want to say, for about 3 years or so.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Maybe a little longer. And you've grown tremendously. And it's not like you were bad or anything like that.
Yeah.
But even the other day, you showed a piece where I was like, damn, Elliot drew that?
Yeah.
I had to tell you, good work, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, because it's really coming along. You're getting great.
Thank you.
Thank
you very much.
You're past getting good. Now you're going to start getting great.
Oh, man.
And,
thank you.
Yeah, just keep it up. But I really want to pick your brain about how did this all come about? How did you get into art? How did you get into comics? And then what really was the catalyst for you to start wanting to even just draw and pursue it to make your own?
Yeah. Thank you very much for the compliment. It means so much to me. Because I do my best. I try my best with each piece, and you get your standard compliments, and you get but it's always good from your peers. And from people that have been doing this for a long time to acknowledge, to give praise, and it just means a lot. It means a lot from each person that I get whenever I get compliments. But yeah, I started drawing when I was a kid, when I was 8 years old, and I did it. I grew up in the '90s, reading the comics from that era. I was introduced to comics through the Maximum Carnage storyline back in those days, and Spider-Man was my first comic exposure. I love Mark Bagley's approach to Spider-Man, and so I just started drawing, and it was a hobby that I had. I was when I was a child, then adolescent. But then when I got older after high school, I stopped drawing altogether. I went cold turkey on it, and then I didn't pick it back up until after I graduated from university in 2018, and I picked it back up again. And the reason behind that choice at that moment was simply because I wanted to. I had all this extra time available because I was when I was in university, there was university projects, the homework, having to talk with classmates and all kinds of things. And so when I finished, I was I was like, what do I do now? So I decided to pick up drawing again and to see if it was possible that I could, just play along with it, see what I can learn with it. And the first thing that I did was inking. I had never inked before then, and so I
Oh
first started
wow,
inking in 2019. And yeah, it's been an incredible learning
goodness!
process. Yeah, yeah,
I
it's
thought you'd been,
yeah,
I thought you'd been doing this for a long while, and I'm starting to see sort of the tail end to uh, your next transition as an artist. I didn't
yeah.
realize. Holy smokes, man!
No, no, yeah. I mean,
That's great.
yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I came back into drawing. I had no idea what it was like. I just looked at images that I had seen in black and white, and my my approach was very natural, I would say, because I approached the inking the way that I did penciling, and penciling and inking I learned over time is completely different. It's
Hmm.
two completely different animals, and there was things that I could do with pencils that I couldn't do with inks, and so
Yeah.
I had to like relearn how to draw basically, and I had to learn how to get better with it. And yeah, I started posting on social media 2019. I came across the indie scene in 2020, and then I just been hanging out with you and with everybody else, seeing all the wonderful work you guys are putting out. And yeah, my whole purpose has been just trying to get better and get better and get better. In the back of my mind, my thinking is I want to get to the point where I can put out a competent comic. I have no financial, like I'm not trying to get into comics for money. Of course, I would like to make some if that's possible. No, but that isn't my first motive for it. My first motive is to it's like a bucket list type thing. Like there's like because I've always felt that I had a certain talent for drawing. I'm not the best artist, but I think I'm pretty good at it, and I always thought that it would be cool to put out a comic. It was a thing that I had dreamed about when I was younger. I came up with a bunch of different characters. I selected a group of them. I had a story that I wrote when I was 15, 16,
Hmm.
and I brushed it aside because I never picked it up afterwards. Yeah, I wanted to say hi to the chat. There's a bunch of people that are familiar faces like Jefferson and Revan. What's going on, guys? And yeah, great supporters. I love everybody, and thank you very much for everybody in the chat.
Yeah,
And
totally. They're the best.
and so yeah, so yeah, so I wrote that story when I was 15. I shelved it. I didn't do anything with it. But then when I started getting back into drawing, I thought like if I'm going to do a comic, I want to do a comic about this IP. Um, and I started developing the characters slowly but surely. I didn't rush it. I'm not trying to rush any of this. I'm trying to like do it to the best of my ability.
Yeah.
So I want to get better with inking. I want to learn like what's the best approach for colors. I originally I wanted to color it myself, the comic, but no, it's there's so many different jobs in comics, like the inking, the lettering, the coloring, and everything, and I think it's just madness trying to do everything yourself. Because it's just so much to learn. Like everything is an art. Like
Who
penciling is
who
an
is
art,
coloring?
inking is an art. I had a colorist. His name is Emmanuel Ordaz, who is the colorist of the image that's in the thumbnail, and
Oh, okay.
he colored my preview book. I may continue with him, but I'm thinking of maybe changing up the colors because I got some feedback from people saying that the colors doesn't necessarily fit the tone or the setting of the story of the comic. So I might change it a little bit. But
Hmm. Do you agree with that critique?
it's been a critique that I've heard more than once from people that I whose opinions I think are credible. and the colors that I have right now um, are great. I love them, but they were not what my original vision was. And if I wanted to
Hmm.
point towards my original vision, it would have to be a little bit different from what I have currently. I have no
Interesting.
problem. I have no problem at all continuing with the colors because I think that would be great. Um,
Yeah,
but
because I like them, but I wonder what differs. What's
if
the original tone that you wanted to
um,
get across?
could I share an image, or is that
Yeah, yeah.
eh, let's see. This is the one second. What I'm going to share is the original.
Well, that's weird.
Here's my cover.
Your
This
mic
is
just was crackling for a second. That was strange. Now it's okay. Let's see.
okay.
So
I'm sorry.
that's the original cover is here.
Yeah, this is the cover, and so these colors are a bit more muted. They're not necessarily bright, shiny. Um, and this is exactly the kind of look that I was going for. And this was colored by
Hmm.
Matt Yackey, and there's a slight difference between this and then what I have currently, but I was aiming for something
Okay.
more like this. And in the end, what I got is something more like this, which is a little bit brighter. I love it. Also, I love this image. I think it looks great. Um, I think it fits. And But yeah, I don't know. I think that in the main book, when I start working on that, I think I may uh, take a look at different samples and see which one works best. But
Hmm.
uh, but yeah, I mean that's all part of the creative process and having to make some of those decisions. And so
So is this the colorist that you're working with currently that you don't think is putting the proper tone across? Is that what it is?
this one, yes, this one, this
This
is
one,
yeah,
and
yes.
and the other one. I mean, do you have something else to show from this colorist? Because I thought the image that's in the thumbnail was pretty good.
Yeah, I have the colorist Emmanuel Ordaz. He colored this, which he did a beautiful job on. He did this image also. This is my main character. Um, he also did the thumbnail, which is here's the complete image on that.
Yeah, because
And
that's a beaut.
yeah, I love this. I love this pic. I love how he played with the blues and the yellows on that, really great. And then he also did this, which I think is really nice. And yeah, I like it. I like how it looks. I have no problem at all continuing with this. If people enjoy it, then yeah, definitely. And then here's one of the pages from the actual preview comic that I have available, and I love how he colored the face. Absolutely love that. It's different from what I had envisioned, but it looks great. And
Yeah,
in my opinion, I think it looks great, and I
because
would be
the
happy to see that.
one by Yaki is good, but I feel like, and I've seen that before.
Yeah.
I feel like the characters get lost.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you go back to that one? That one with
Yeah.
they're both together and it looks like they're kind of falling and the flame is behind them.
Yeah. This is.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily even know if it's the coloring that's doing it, but I feel like if you zoom out a bit and you just do
One
the
second.
whole
One second.
image,
Yeah. One second. One second. Yeah.
yeah, it feels like it's for me anyway. I have a difficult time
Making
at
up.
first making out
Yeah.
what's going on
Yeah.
based
Yeah.
on how it's honestly I think honestly how it's colored. And Matt's
Maybe.
good.
Yeah.
Matt's
Yeah. Yeah.
good. But
Yeah. He's excellent. Yeah.
yeah, it's
And
tough. It's tough. It really
yeah,
is.
it's a tough call, but I mean, if I can't find anybody who can supplement this at least, then I'm going to stick with Emmanuel because I mean, I did a search through on Instagram, our station, all the social media, and I found Emmanuel, and I loved his coloring, and I asked him to do some pages for me, and I love what I got back, and I wouldn't have actually gone through all of the pages in the preview comic if I didn't like his work. So
Yeah.
his work is excellent, and I've gotten great reviews from it also. But I feel to a certain extent that it may deviate a little bit from where my original vision is in terms with the art.
Well, that's what I'm
I,
curious. Like, what is your original vision? Is it a darker look? Is it a like
Uh,
what
n-
would be the original vision?
um, like my comic is a fantasy story. So I mean, there's going to be a, but it's not just dragons and dwarfs and mages and things like that. I'm actually playing with everything. Like I want to have people in there with powers. I want to use like I have a sorcerer in there who's got these energy beams, and I like stuff that I like to drawing. So I want to put that stuff in
Yeah.
there, and so some of these things, like some of the visuals, lend itself for the kind of coloring style that Emmanuel does. And so, like for example, I hadn't originally envisioned this. Sorry, whoops. I hadn't originally envisioned this to look like that, but when I saw this, I was like, "That's great. It looks great. I have no qualms about it at all." And then I could play with that, and then I can do different things with it. And so
Do you mean in terms of like the color of the costume? I'm just trying to understand. Uh,
the tones of the green,
okay.
like for example, uh, in this, there's these highlights here, these highlights in the eyes. It's it's like a very like a sheen to the colors, I guess I would call it.
Mm-hmm.
Here on the green area, it's like a sheenish, like a glowish color, and it wasn't what I had originally envisioned. Like it was something a little bit more muted, more subtle.
Okay.
Uh,
Interesting.
like here, for example, on the boot, there's this thing here that makes it like it makes it pop, which is great. No, it's great also, but it wasn't what I had originally envisioned. So it's like a happy accident in some cases
Yeah. Yeah.
to a certain extent. So I like what he did with it, and and luckily for me, I've spoken with Emmanuel, and he says he's on board for doing like the rest of the book with it if once we get to that. And so that would be great.
Yeah.
And
So you're doing the pencils and the inks,
yeah,
and
I
then the
did the
colorist
pencils.
comes in.
Yeah, and then I have another person who did the lettering. His name is Paul Bird. He's the creator of Fall of Man.
Okay.
Um, and he's doing the lettering, I have an editor that I'm working with, and he'll be doing edits for the main book. But I finished recently a short 10-page preview book, just so I can like see what the whole process of making the comic is like, and and yeah, I there was no editor in that. I did all the writing myself. I did all the story and everything, and some of the feedback that I got was um, many people had coincided in that there were specific points that I need to work on with editing. Some of the same mistakes kept coming up again and again and again, and so I was like, okay, so this is where some of my flaws are, and so I need to get somebody to catch that because I was in the middle of making everything and I thought it was just perfect, and then I put it out. They were like, hey, you forgot this, and that, and I was like, oh yeah, that is right. I forgot to put no, and so getting extra eyes on the project, I think it's always great.
Yeah, because you're coming at it too from being an artist, right? Being the
Yeah,
writer. Is this your
yeah,
first outing as a writer?
yes. This is the first thing that I've actually written in comic form that's finished. And so yeah,
Yeah. Well, it's good. I
and
mean, the fact that you're even getting someone to help you edit it and be
yeah,
another set of eyes for you, that's good. Because there's a lot of people that wouldn't do that. So
yeah,
it's
no,
good
no,
that you
yeah,
understand where you're at, and
yeah.
if you need help in some areas, that's an important thing. But
Yeah.
I'm wondering for you when it comes back to your art, what were some of the things that you did to improve?
Um, for like the first year or so was just brushing up on the things that I've remembered when I was drawing when I was younger. It's like getting back on a bike and then riding your bike after so many years. Like you remember how everything goes, but then you have to get back on it again and to actually get back into the swing of things. And once I got into the swing of things, then I started, what's the next thing I could learn? And then after I thought I learned it to a certain extent, what's the next thing? Like, first when I started inking, like my inking process was just basically trace everything. And
Mm.
so I did everything with the same line weight. I did everything. I did no heavy blacks. I did shading as I would with a pencil, and
So it's kind of like
it
a
came out.
coloring book, like that kind of a look to
Yeah,
it.
yeah, exactly. And so I did it. I would post it online, and then I get feedback from it, and then it would say, "This looks great, but you need to work on your line weights, or you need to try to use a little bit more blacks." And I would think, wait, line weights? What's that? No, heavy black areas. What's that? And so I would investigate and search it. And then when I saw like, okay, this is what they mean with line weights. Okay. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
started playing with it. Then I would do another drawing with, paying more attention to line weights, and then see if that was better. Um, so feedback I've gotten online has really helped my art a lot. Uh, I don't think that I'm an art guru at all, or I can't be told anything at all with art. I hear everybody's critiques, and if it makes sense, if it's something that can be improved, then I try my best to improve it. Um, and so I tackled line weights. I tackled proportions. Proportions was something that completely rocked my socks, because I was like, proportions? What are you talking about? His arm is there, his leg is there, but but there's like a certain, but there's like a yeah, but there's like a certain length to everything, and I was like, what are you
Yeah,
guys
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about? And
Yeah, depending on like the, like you can even see it in here, If you draw
yeah,
me like this and I'm
yeah, it's
supposed to
just
be actually
yeah,
dead on, it's going to be like I got me a little hand,
yeah, exactly,
as opposed to like there it is.
yeah,
So it's, yeah, you got to have that foreshortening and the perspective, and yeah, yeah.
yeah, and
But
so
man, that's funny. And what are you
yeah,
talking about? His
so
arms there?
yeah, his arm is there, his legs there. Like, what do you mean proportions? What are you talking about? And then I would fix that. Then I would go to working with blacks. Some people would tell me you should put more blacks into your art, because it looks like lines everywhere. And I was like, okay, so I tried that. I just tried a bunch of things and see what works, see what I like also with my art, and yeah, and slowly but surely over the last 3 years, I've been trying my best to improve, and I think I'm getting there. Like
Yeah,
um,
absolutely. Yeah,
yeah, thank you very much. I think I'm
you're
getting there,
absolutely getting there.
and yeah, like this on that last image that you mentioned, I got I got like likes and retweets from pros, and that was just freaking me out. Like
Yeah,
and then
what was that?
when
What was that image for?
that was a commission for the Fall of Man comic.
Oh,
If
okay.
if you'll allow me, I can show it. I can show it
Yeah, yeah.
now.
And as we're looking at that,
Um,
also, what geeks do has a question that says, "Is your art traditional or digital?"
yeah, my artwork is all traditional. And 1 second. Yeah, my artwork is all traditional. I do touch ups digitally sometimes. I used to do it a lot earlier when I no earlier like maybe about a year or so ago. But I'm trying my best not to do digital touch ups, because I don't know. I just want like the art that you see in the digital image to be the same thing that you see on the actual comic board. So I'm
Oh,
trying my
yeah,
best.
I hear
I'm
you.
trying my best to like because you see an image digitally and then you get the original. It's like, hey, that's not the same. This guy used a bunch of white out here. But yeah, I'm sharing the image
Yeah,
for the
this is the
monster.
one
Yeah.
I saw. It's great.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, that was a commission for the comic Fall of Man, and the creator Paul Bird. He has a tier on there where you could like get a kaiju drawn and then a character drawn. And so he asked me to do the piece, and so I was like, yeah, I'll go ahead and do it. And and yeah, so I just went all in, tried my best to try to show like the grand scale of the monster versus the small character, and yeah, I think it came out good. I'm getting a lot of great feedback about this, and yeah,
Yeah,
really happy with how it turned out. And
yeah, it's very nice, man. Yeah,
yeah,
you got
thank you,
that.
thank you.
And again, it goes back to everything you just talked about that you've been learning and working on with the line weights, with putting in the usage of black. You're creating those high contrast areas that lead the eye.
Yeah.
And then you're also developing a sense of understanding also when not to put a line.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's
it's
also
because the lines you make those are important, but it's also really important about the lines you don't make.
exactly.
And I really love the work on that monster there.
Thank you.
And I'm not gonna give you critiques on this show, so don't worry. It's not feedback forum.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean,
I
I
really
wouldn't.
enjoy. I love this piece. It's a great piece.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to it. Like, if there's something I can improve, like, yeah, I have no problem with it. Like, yeah. If critique away, I have no problem with it at all.
You're one in a million, Elliot. You really
Yeah.
are. So many people would be like, "Don't you dare say a word." No, this is great, man. I love
Thank
it.
you.
Seriously, I look at this and I'm like, man, where are you gonna be in a year? You're gonna be
Yeah.
killing it.
Yeah.
You're
Thank
gonna
you.
be
Hopefully.
beating them off with a stick and being like, "Look, I'm busy. I can't draw everyone's book. Damn it."
Yeah.
I got my own book to do. That's where you're gonna be in a year, man. If you're not there already, it's seriously a piece like this. Every now and then, I'll see something from an artist who's doing this. They're progressing along, and I'll see a piece where I'm like, things are falling into place. They're really getting it, and that's when that's why I'm saying a year out from now, continuing making stuff that's along this caliber.
Yeah. Thank
It's
you.
really, really good, man. Really
Thank
good.
you, man. That means a lot. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I look at that, and then and I look at the art that I did like a few years ago. Yeah. Like, yeah. I see a lot of improvement, and I want to continue working to get more things done. Um, and yeah. In this piece, like, I wanted to play with the contrast. Also, I wanted to have like a heavy background so the monster can seem a lot bigger than what it is. And yeah. So I want to always use this also for my comic, and then make it the best.
Yeah. And your comic is called Ominous, right?
Ominous, yes.
Yeah. And that character in the thumbnails, that's Deathmonger. Is that correct?
Yes, his name is Deathmonger. Yes, he's not the main bad guy of the comic. He's actually one of the minions, and yeah,
He's such a cool looking character, Elliot. I
yeah.
want make the whole book about Deathmonger.
Yeah, actually, I my preview, I have a short 10-page preview that I have ready and available for anyone. It's all about my main character taking on Deathmonger, and you see Deathmonger just going at it against my main character. And
Yeah, I want to see you
it
make
was
and I know this isn't what you want to do, but I want to see you make a whole book with this guy, and
yeah.
he's just like being a ridiculous, just crushing skulls, taking people's heads in his hands, and just, and he's just laying waste to everybody, killing everything, destroying things.
Yeah.
People are coming at him. One of these books where it's the villain is gonna win, and you kind of want them to because he just looks so cool.
Yeah.
I
I
don't know. That's
might,
just
I might make it happen. Yeah, I have no problem with that. Yeah, I could do like another short 10-pager where like he just tears into town. Yeah. That
oh
sounds fun.
yeah, because he's an awesome looking character, man.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I had his I designed him years ago, and I, I on my YouTube channel I talk about like the development of my characters, and so I have sketches of what he looked like before and some of the changes that I made. I went a bit extreme with some of like the claws and stuff, but that was the intention, to make it look as ominous as possible, as scary as I can, and yeah, I like how I like what he looks like now, and then and he's gonna look great, even better, in once I get that comic started.
Nice, man.
Once I
That's
get the
awesome.
actual one.
Marcus
Thank
wants
you.
to know, what tools do you ink with?
Yeah, I use microns. I use Copics. I use Faber Castell. Hold on, I use the Tombow brushes that I saw. I saw these from David Finch. I use Faber Castell. I also have Unipens.
Oh, I
You
love
recommended
Unipen.
you recommended Unipens one time. I don't know if you remember. You recommended those
Yeah.
for the small detailed ones,
Yeah.
and these are actually
I love
extremely,
those.
yeah, these are actually extremely good for like the small close in detail ones, and yeah, I recommend these if you're going small. I recommend Unipens. Well,
Yeah,
recommendation from the man himself.
they hold up way better than Copic
Yeah,
multiliner, and especially better than Micron.
yeah, definitely, definitely,
Micron,
and
I used to just destroy Micron, and I do like
yeah,
so. I try not to like just barely touch
yeah,
the paper, and it's like,
yeah, 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 yeah.
there's
And
another
these
Micron
are
gone.
yeah, and the Unipens are super sturdy, and yeah, they're great. They're
Yeah,
great.
awesome, man.
Yeah,
That's great.
I tried to use brushes. Oh, I'm sorry, I haven't used brush yet, but I tried to use a Hunt 102, but I just haven't gotten into it. Like I try my best to like adapt it, but I think maybe the ink or the way that I have my ink set up maybe isn't the best, but it's just hasn't been working for me just yet. I'm going to continue experimenting with it, but um, in the back of my mind, I was like, why complicate things? Just go with what's easier for me. And but I have tried using Hunt 102s, and they also have a learning curve to them as well. So um, yeah,
So, well, you've come a really long way with your art. Now, in terms of your writing, what have you been doing to get more, I guess, more accustomed to doing that? You know, what have you been doing in terms of anything to become as good of a writer as you could be?
yeah. I read. I'm also on the lookout for recommendations for anything that I can hear from writers um like the innate thing that I did was just read as many comics as I could and see how the whole setup works, like when should use caption balloons, when to use thought balloons, um, and and I quickly learned that like the best way, like the most impactful comic, the best comic is when the impact from the word matches the impact from the art. Like when you can get those two things
Yeah,
to fall in sync, that's just perfect. And so because sometimes I've read comics where like the image is giving you a certain impression, but then the words don't coincide with it. Like like for example, like just a silly example, you know, like you'll see a monster, but then something completely different from like a happy message or something. Like just it just doesn't it just doesn't mesh. And so I've
yeah.
seen
I've noticed a lot of the time you'll have people with either, and it goes both ways, where you'll have someone with a very emotional expression. You know, let's say
yeah,
they're scared. Something's, oh my God, something like that. And then the lettering's just like, oh my God.
yeah,
there's like
exactly,
nothing to it. It's just, there's
yeah,
no exclamation point. There's nothing to the lettering that
yeah,
emphasizes the art. It's just very
exactly,
monotone.
yeah,
And then you'll have the other thing of someone that should be freaking out in a certain scene or, giving an emotion, and there's no emotion on the face, but there
yeah,
should be emotion based on what's happening and based on what's
in
being
the
said.
text, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, like even like for example, like if you see a face that's like it has an intense expression on it, and the word like for example, you can use tired or exhausted, and then exhausted has another tone to it. Tired has it's not as much. You know, you see like a great expression, but I'm tired. Like just something that just completely kills it. So like I read a lot, and then I would read and see. I noticed I picked up on that mesh that needs to happen in comics,
Yeah.
and I've also read backed almost any and every comic that's crossed my path, and I've read a lot of indie comics. Some were really good, some were not so good, and so I'm just trying to pick up on what some of these comics didn't do so well, what did these great comics do well, and just trying my best to emulate the good stuff. You know? So
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
That's
yeah,
good. That's good advice. It's good to obviously study comics so
yeah,
that this way you can understand the language of comics.
yeah, yeah,
There's a lot of
definitely,
people where I find that some of the creators I question sometimes. I'm like, man, I don't know how many comics you've read, but it doesn't look like you've read a lot.
yeah,
And then when it comes to just writing in general, there's a lot of people I think that go into it, and I think we all do this at some point in time, where you're so focused on writing the comic, you forget that you're first and foremost writing a story.
Yeah.
So everything becomes all about how do you make this comic a comic, which,
Yeah.
yeah, that seems like obvious, but the story's not there, the plot's not there, the suspense, the build-up, the tension,
Yeah.
the ebb and flow, the roller coaster ride of that
Yeah.
story isn't really there because you're so bogged down in making the comic.
Yeah.
And what I mean by
That's
that
true.
is that there's a lot of people, and I don't know if you ever experienced this. I certainly experienced it very early on when I was making comics, where you want to be, I guess, almost as impactful as you can with every
Yeah.
single panel, every page, to the point that there's never really that push and pull of a natural story.
Yeah.
So everything becomes how to make it this not action packed either, but how to really utilize the panels and the space, and you're making compositions and you're doing that, but your focus isn't there on establishing a narrative that'll
Yeah.
flow properly as a story and then turning that into a comic.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Exactly.
I find there's a lot of people that kind of, yeah, and
Yeah.
we
It's
kind of all start off that way, but
Yeah, it's an art to it. Yeah, it's not just put panels, put text, put no, like you have to, even positioning
yeah,
word balloons is like something you have to be very careful with, because yeah, you have to guide the eye just right, otherwise you just lose everything. And it's really sensitive, in that sense.
yeah, totally. It's not just like paint by numbers, where you
Yeah.
just there's you just make a
Exactly.
couple panels on the page and then you fill them
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
a
It's
lot
not
of
that.
people, we all start off maybe even as kids doing that, where
Yeah.
you make like your 4 panel grid,
Yeah.
and you're just kind of it's like a comic strip more than
Exactly.
a
Yeah.
comic book with a narrative and a story.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, but
I was also surprised, like how important it is, like that page turn reveal. I didn't really pay,
yeah,
like I didn't even notice that when I was like being a reader. No, and then when I learned like that's something you have to like build up to, I was like, oh, really? It's like I had no idea. And then when I learned that it existed, I read some of the books. I was like, oh yeah, this guy's doing it really good. Like look at that. Like oh yeah, oh this is great. And so yeah, there's a lot
yeah,
of things, and that's what many people say. Like if they do a good job at this one particular thing, then you won't even notice it in the book. And so, and that goes for like lettering, for positioning, word balloons and page turns. Like if everything flows just right, you won't even notice it in the book. And so, yeah,
yeah,
it's a skill. Yeah, it's difficult.
absolutely, man. Man, oh man. So, for you with your book and your characters, do you have a timetable for when this stuff is coming out? Or when are we going to see this being pushed towards? I'm guessing you're going to crowdfunding, or how's that happening?
Yeah, my intention is to do a crowdfund, but I have no idea like how it's going to work exactly, because uh, I don't draw 8 hours a day. Like I have my day job, and I mean I'm not planning on leaving it. I'm going to stick to it, but I do want to finish this story out. So it's going to take time, because right now in the comic making process, I'm still writing the story. And so
Mm,
once I get the story written, once I figure out how many books this is going to be, once I figure out how many pages per book, once I figure these things out, I'll start like writing and then drawing. Hopefully, I could start drawing this year, the first official book. But
nice.
yeah, if I started this year, then I'm assuming next year I should be done with the first book, and then the following year after that the second. So I'm assuming 2 years. Now, what am I going to do when I finish the first book? I don't know if I'm going to launch it just yet, because I've been hearing from different people that, and also from fans, that in the indie scene, many people don't like this idea, and I'm also with it. Know that for example, you'll back a campaign and you won't get the book till like a year after that, and there's that
Oh
waiting
man,
factor that.
I'm shit out of luck then.
No, but I mean, I think you're doing great. I think you're doing great, and you're not just putting out one; you're putting out many books, and yeah, I think you're doing great. But but I've seen that with creators, and then also like late books, and so like I want to try to
Yeah,
avoid that as
yeah.
much as possible,
Well, see,
and so
I think there's a difference, and I get definitely what you're doing, and I commend it.
yeah,
But I think that there's a situation at hand where we're seeing some people that are understandably upset when they have to
yeah,
wait far longer than they had
yeah,
anticipated, and I get that, right? But at the same time, if everyone is supposed to have their thing done before they crowdfund, we're
then it's
gonna get
defeats.
into
Yeah,
a situation where everyone's gonna go, well, why are you crowdfunding? Why don't you just sell it?
yeah, it's
You
true.
know, so then it's gonna
Yeah,
turn into this double-edged sword
yeah,
where you're
exactly.
like, "Ooh, crap," you know, and then everyone's gonna run around going, "Oh man, I gotta get this done first, but I can't get it done first because I'm now in this catch-22 where I need the funds and I need the time
Yeah,
to afford me
exactly.
the ability to get it done."
Yeah,
And I definitely get as much as you can. I would
yeah,
say, like I said, I'm at this point, I'm kind of a stickler unless I really know the creator and the creative team. I'm not backing a book unless I see at least one page
yeah,
lettered. I want to get a
yeah,
sense of the writing. I want to get a sense of the lettering. I've backed too many books where that stuff just wasn't up to par. And I
mm,
backed it off of the fact that I knew the writer and I knew the artist.
yeah,
But, you're depending upon then these people to bring in a standard of quality in terms of the rest of the project. And when that falls short, I'm like,
yeah,
God, this is ridiculous. You know,
yeah, exactly.
it's one thing to go, okay, just like $2 to $5 for an issue, and the lettering's not great or something about it's not great. Okay, but when it's $25 plus $10 shipping or something like that,
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah,
better be good. It better
yeah,
be good.
yeah,
Otherwise, I'm not coming back. And I know a lot of
exactly.
people would feel the same. But I think it's a really slippery slope for us to feel eventually like everything should be done before you crowdfund,
Yeah,
because that's going to bite a lot of people in the you know where. And and
yeah,
yeah, but
definitely.
there's a difference though too of like if someone is like, wow, you were consistently late and you're very late. It's up for the individual to decide, do you back that person again? I find that
Yeah,
there's too much in the scope of it, and again, I understand it, but there's too much in the scope of it with crowdfunding where 5 to 10 people, let's say, I'm just throwing a number out there. I don't even have a
yeah,
specific of who. Let's say they screwed people over. They mismanaged their project. They ran into the ground. It was bad. Bad
yeah,
experience. There's now 400 to 500 other people though doing it good. So
exactly.
now
Yeah,
because those 5 to 10 ran it poorly, the onus is upon the 4 to 500 that have been doing it good and are doing it good and are keeping up with their promises and usually even under promising and over delivering.
yeah,
Now they're kind of punished, and it's up to them to bring everything else up to snuff because
yeah,
5 to 10 people drop the ball.
yeah.
That's
That's
I'm
yeah,
not cool with that, you know,
yeah,
and I get it, but at the same time, I think there's too much emphasis on the negative, the people who are dropping the ball, and not enough emphasis on those who are doing it right.
yeah.
Because I think
That's
if there
true.
was
That's also
more
true.
about this person's doing it right, that person's doing it right, yada yada, if there's more about that talk, then it would give everybody else an example of what to emulate. Because those that are
Exactly.
out there that are dropping the ball are going to go, well, the only example I really have is people keep talking about the people dropping the ball. So it's like
That's true. Yeah,
I don't know what else to improve upon or emulate. So
yeah.
I don't want to see the crowdfunding space get caught in this catch 22 because it's going to get real ugly and real weird in the indie comic sphere pretty
No,
fast. And
yeah.
then we're going to find a lot of people not making their comics because they feel like, well, if I can't get it done automatically, I'm just not going to do it.
No, yeah, that's true, and yeah, that's exactly the conundrum, the situation that we're in, because yeah, yeah, exactly. I agree to what you're saying, and also like another thing that I want to take into consideration is like the wait time between the first book and the second book. That's also going to be an issue that I don't know how good I'm going to be able to handle, because if it's taking me, like for example, like it takes 2 years to do first book, and if it takes 2 years for the second book, how many people are going to come back for the second? So I want to try to like do as much as I finish the first book, and then try to get as much done in the second, and then hopefully try to keep that momentum up until I get the story finished. You know? So
Yeah, because I
I'm
think
still,
what you're
yeah,
doing is great, where you're having like these, because you said it was like a 10-page preview type
yeah,
thing, right?
yeah,
That's great. I like seeing that because even if you're a first timer, it shows me that you're committed to making something that
yeah,
like sitting down, the actual act of making it,
yeah,
because that's so important on a first time project. So it shows that you're committed to it, and it shows that you and your creative team are there and you're putting it together, and then you're getting something out. And
mm,
I like seeing that, and I definitely recommend that. Because I've said before, don't go right to crowdfunding for your very, very first effort. Do
yeah,
something first, show people that you're able to do it. It
yeah.
doesn't mean you have to print it necessarily. You could do these digital comics and give them
That's
out, or
true.
you could do
Yeah,
a small, ash can kind of a thing, printed at a whatever Staples, FedEx, yada yada. There's a ton of places printed at home. Hell, that's what I
yeah,
did with my first couple of comics, and then I just gave them away at shows, just to show that I could do it, put it together, get it done, and someone can actually just read it. You know,
yeah,
and then you also, when you make these little things, if you do print anything, even if you do print on demand, and you do a very small batch, it's something that you can instantly sell on that
yeah,
crowdfunder. Super limited, I don't know, 25 or 50 of them,
yeah,
ash can of the 10-page preview, print on demand kind of a thing.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
that's pretty cool. So you could do that too. But it's when people, and I definitely, I get it. I get both sides of the argument, but
yeah.
I don't like seeing people get punished for the shortcomings of others.
Oh, well, yeah, that's
Is
true.
basically what it is.
No, yeah, that's definitely true. And yeah, that was my approach. Like, because I've heard that from many people also. Like, number one, like if you're really about this project, then you should invest in yourself. And so, like, yeah, I took that to heart, and I was like, yeah, I mean, I like this project, I enjoy it. Maybe not everybody's going to enjoy it, but there could be some people out there who might. And so, like, I'm going to put my end of it, and then I put my money down for the colorist, for the letterer, for everything, and also it exposed me to the actual creating process from start to finish, because I have worked in anthologies before, but in those cases, for example, I work with an editor, I work with a writer. They give me the pages to draw. I draw them and then I submit them, and then that's all I see. Like, and then after that, I'll see it later. Like, no, okay, there's the lettering and the word and everything done, but I don't see what happened in that process. No, so
Mm.
with this project, I saw everything. I saw like how it goes from beginning to end, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed every step of the way, and yeah, and the payoff at the end when you see the whole book finished, and it's like, oh man, it's just the greatest thing ever. And so I want to continue doing that, and yeah, like I host my own show also,
Yeah,
every
yeah,
other
you do.
week, and I had a guest on there who mentioned doing short stories, like to practice doing short stories, because they told me that the creator who told me was Odin Daskell, who the creator of Unconditional Shove. He said that he reminded me that Pit was first like a short story at the end of, I forgot what Image comic it was. That it's like a short story, like really short, just to introduce who the guy was, and I was like, and I thought about it. I was like, yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea at all. So do like just something short, something simple, but not too complex. So to show the readers what kind of
Yeah, that
project
that,
they can come across to, and I
that
did it.
story's weird because it's Youngblood #4 is what you're talking
Yeah.
about, and that one's weird is because the way the scheduling came out, Pit #1 came out before that.
Oh, nice.
So technically,
I
it was
didn't know
supposed
that.
to be the
Wow.
other way around, but there were scheduling issues.
Nice, nice.
And yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah. Yeah, and so yeah, he brought that up, and I was like, okay, yeah, it's not a bad idea at all. I'll
yeah,
do that. And I jumped on it, and the story. This short 10-page preview is actually something that's not going to be part of the main story. So it's like just something unique in its own,
oh, so it's
and
like a supplemental that's an additional thing
kind of,
to it.
yeah, an
That's
additional
cool.
thing to it. Yeah, it's not going to be part of the actual story.
Mm.
It's just me, like it's just me in the sandbox playing with my toys, really, and it's just
All the more
uh
reason then for you to print a couple of them then, man.
yeah, I was thinking of that. Actually, I'm thinking of, because I've already announced that this 10-page preview is available, and it's available for $5. If anybody's interested, they can just hit me contact me on Twitter, and then I'll send you the PDF, and and I'm going to do something special for the people that have been buying copies of the digital format when I do get to the crowdfunder, because right now it's just me and my little 10-page comic, and for the people that support that initial process, they're going to get a pretty cool payoff at the end when I do the crowdfunding, and I'll find some way to to uh to thank them for their for showing support at a very early stage of the creating process. No?
Well,
So yeah, I have
yeah,
that
man.
available if anybody's interested.
I wish you the best of luck with all of it.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
there's a lot of conversation in the chat. I appreciate you guys talking amongst
Yeah,
yourselves with a lot of the different creators that you guys support and a lot of the things you guys want to see. I see the conversation is varied, but I appreciate you guys having it. One thing that I got to ask you, Elliot, before you
yeah.
go, we got to talk
Oh,
about those aliens in Peru.
yeah, yeah.
Have
I
you
was
heard
on.
about this story? It was a couple months ago. It was like 2 months ago.
What was the story?
Yeah.
I
Okay,
think I might have.
so the story from people and their pictures that were taken, it basically looks like an alien on a jetpack on like a
I had.
hoverboard thing, like on like
Oh, I
these
hadn't
like
heard that
disc
one.
shaped thing, but they're on like some kind of a jetpack. But
Yeah,
allegedly the jetpacks are silent, and there's no such thing we know of. So they're like
yeah,
anti-gravity jetpacks, and they're going through the jungles. Now the whole story, and this is true, is that there are drug cartels that are trying to push people out, that are scaring the villagers because they want the land. They're trying to get them out of there. They've been trying to do this for a while.
yeah,
So allegedly, the cover story, once it was looked into, was that the drug cartels had hired a bunch of miners, like people that mine,
yeah,
not people that are under adult age, miners to go on these jetpacks and allegedly scare the villagers. But the villagers, there are people reported that said that they tried shooting these people point blank, and the
yeah,
bullets would go either through or bounce off.
yeah,
So there's a lot of talk from these people who've seen a lot of this stuff, where they're saying that the cover story, the official cover story by the government, makes no sense.
yeah,
And now I don't want to get you in trouble or whatever, but I just want to know. I just want
yeah.
to know. Have you heard of this story at all?
I heard of I don't know if it's the same story, but I've heard of another story of well, I don't know if it could be the same one, but I heard a story of similar to what you're saying, but it's not a photograph. It's footage, and in the footage you see like a group of people in the country area, and they're shooting at something, and then you all suddenly you see like lights from the opposite direction like shine, and then it goes white, and then you see everybody just suddenly start running towards the camera, like running past them, like screaming, and there's no images in those cases of people on flying boards, but but yeah, everything else you say to the context is true. There's areas of Peru in the jungle, which is towards the Amazons, that are completely taken over by drug cartels. There's cartels in Colombia that have that northern area taken. There's cartels from Brazil that take that area of the country, and so yeah, there's all kinds of reports of weird things that happen in those areas, because it's I would assume that it's like a cryptologist's wet dream to be in that kind of area, because there's almost no government, no Western civilization exposure to that area of Peru. Like it's
Yeah.
very, very secluded. There's villages, there's still tribes out there that have no idea or that have never made contact with the Western man, and everything is very primitive, and yeah, I mean, even that could probably explain why to them it's like a flying board, but for us could probably be something different. No? And and yeah, so that is completely true. And
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Now,
I
now this
wouldn't I
is the
wouldn't be
part
surprised.
for me. I don't think it's aliens. but I do think that the cover story is bullshit.
Yeah, yeah, definitely,
What
definitely.
I
Yeah,
think is going on, and because there's a lot of stuff with governments in the world that use parts of the jungle because it is so
mm,
removed from
yeah,
civilization to test out a lot of tech that
yeah,
is beyond what is being reported. So
exactly.
I
Yeah,
wouldn't be surprised if in this situation it was used where this excuse came up, this cover story of this, trying to scare the villagers or whatever. Even though
yeah,
these things weren't attacking anyone, they were just flying through.
yeah,
And all the reports are that they were flying through relatively silently and effortlessly through the
mm,
jungle. So no one's like smacking right into a tree or
yeah,
anything, right? They're flying through, which is crazy enough. So it means that there's these people, if they're doing it, are very well adept at driving these things, at maneuvering them to
yeah.
do that in the night of the jungle. That's I can't
It's a
imagine.
challenge. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine people running full speed in the jungle in the night and not hitting
and I
something,
hit something. Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah,
Let
yeah,
alone flying through.
yeah,
So I wouldn't be surprised if it was crazy tech military and it turned into, let's not say what it is, and let's give that it's this cover story, or they're on
yeah,
jetpacks, because these jetpacks they're allegedly on, first of all, they're silent, but let's say they're not. These jetpacks cost like 300 grand,
yeah,
and so it's like you're gonna give, like, if you're a drug cartel you're gonna give the jetpacks to these miners to just fire. It sounds like the most ridiculous story I've ever heard,
yeah,
but that's the official story.
yeah,
I think it's a cover up. I don't think it's an alien cover up. I think it's a technology cover up. I think they're testing some kind of tech that
yeah.
is not classified, is not declassified at this point. But yeah, I
No,
was very
yeah.
curious to see if you were getting reports or anything or
Not
strange
too
out
much.
there.
We not too much. The media here, just like in the states, they manipulate certain things. So if it's not catching your attention, they probably won't show
Interesting.
it. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot of that here. If we're talking about the drug cartels, yeah, they have all kinds of power here. This is a third world country. South America is a third world country, so governments are very loose. I mean, if you look back at Escobar's time, he built his own prison. He was running for Congress, so like just that level. Like for example, now I think Colombia's president was once a terrorist, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Um, and so I mean, it's really heavily linked,
yeah.
and yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all. And then also from another perspective, here in Peru, we have Machu Picchu, we have the Nazca lines, we have all kinds of
That
things.
yeah, there's weird
We
stuff down there
we
already
have
that's been for a
yeah,
long, long time.
yeah. We have the pre-Incan cultures that have all kinds of fascinating things that you have no idea that would be there. Like they were sacrificing things in areas around Lima. They were doing human sacrifices, baby sacrifices to these gods, and then they paint the gods on the walls, and it's really interesting imagery. And which actually I want to try to find a way to put it in my comic number, which would be great. But yeah,
Oh, nice.
there's a lot of lore here in terms of that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's great. It's good stuff.
Yeah, because that's why I think a lot of the villagers are maybe their inclination is more towards that. Because the things, if you look it up at all, I don't know if you'd even be able to.
Yeah,
And like I said, I do find it interesting that you haven't seemed to have heard as much about it as. And I mean, I'm looking for it. It's not like it's being reported on the news here at
yeah,
all.
yeah,
But it's interesting to me because I think it's one of those things where the cover story and the story being told by people, it's they're both getting it wrong. I don't think it's that because
yeah.
if you, anyone in the chat, if you guys looked up pictures or saw it, it looks like it's the Rocketeer. You know what I
Oh
mean? Like
man,
it looks like it's the Rocketeer, but like I said, it's silent. It's supposed to be silent, and there's no exhaust being emitted. There's nothing
yeah,
like that. There's no propulsion system that's combustible or anything. It's a
yeah,
silent thing, but it looks like it's a jetpack, and that they're on like these discs with the shoes, like the feet are on that.
That's awesome.
strange, man. No
Yeah.
matter what it is strange.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's something like that out here. Like I wouldn't be surprised with that at all. Not at all.
yeah, I
Yeah.
wouldn't
It
either.
would.
Yeah, yeah, but
It would be
I think
great.
it's some
It
kind of
would.
crazy tech.
Yeah, it would be great if King Cryptid could make a trip to Peru and and discover what the truth is behind all that. That would be
Hey,
great.
maybe one day, right? Maybe one
Or
day
if
I'll have.
Necro has like a secret base in Peru or something like that. That would be great. Also, yeah.
They're everywhere. So yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
one day King Cryptid is going to be getting outside of the New England area.
Oh man, that would be nice.
So yeah, there's because I can't do a book like King Cryptid and he's just in New England the whole time. There's just a great big
There's so
old
much.
world.
Yeah, yeah. There's so
You
much
know.
out there. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's so much out there.
we'll have a couple issues too where he's off planet.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, so
Nice.
yeah. Jasper says, Pete, just pull it up and show it to us. No. You go look it up. Go look it
Yeah,
up.
I'm gonna do just that when I get off. Yeah.
Only because
Take a look.
if I show it, it's not gonna transmit properly. You need to see it for
Yeah.
yourself on the screen.
Yeah, that's
But,
part of the wonder.
Yeah.
Take a look at it for yourself. Yeah.
Go check it out, or don't. It's fine. I'm just more piquing my own interest in scratching my own itch for the curiosity behind it to see if
Yeah.
anything was reported in Peru where it actually is occurring.
Yeah. No, I mean I saw that one footage that went I think it went viral here in social media, but not the image that you saw with the Rocketeer thing. I haven't seen that, but it may be a different story. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if those things are
Yeah.
found here. Yeah.
Only because so this is the other part, and then we can just kind of wrap it up. There were no arrests made.
Oh wow.
No one was no one was obtained to get a confession out of.
Wow.
So how the hell do they know it's drug cartels hiring minors on jetpacks? If you got nobody,
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
so yeah, that's why I'm not leaning towards aliens. I'm leaning towards government cover up with technology being used, and they don't want people to know about it. But it's like you didn't arrest anybody. Not like somebody died and then they fell and you got them and they got the body and you investigated this person and then there were ties to whoever. It's
Yeah.
just they get the government down in there and they're like, it's this.
It's it's an incident. Like we had what is it called? Like an accident during an exercise mission. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really crazy stuff that they did.
Yeah. Man, oh man. Oh boy. All right. Thank you so much, Elliot. Thank you for entertaining me on that question there.
No problem. Anytime. Yeah, we'll come back.
It's a bit of a tangent to it.
Yeah.
But one last thing though, before you go, are you interested? Because I could do a paranormal type ancient civilization show with you if you are interested in discussing things like the Nazca lines and Machu Picchu and places like that.
I don't know much about it. Like, for example, like if you were to tell me, "Hey, we're going to do this show like in 2 weeks," and then or something like that, no, and then yeah, I could probably research on things that I found, but that's like I don't have your knowledge of cryptid type things.
Okay. In that case, you have more than enough to do, and I will let you do it.
Oh yeah, but yeah, in the future, I never close the door on anything. Like in the future, if you want to talk about stuff, then yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, if you ever visit anywhere or go anywhere or
take pictures,
you start kind of going down that rabbit hole too, and you're like, Pete, we have to talk.
I found something. Yeah,
This
if I
stuff
find
is
something,
getting crazy, and we have to talk.
Yeah.
Tap me on the shoulder.
Yeah, because you mentioned some of the things that happened, and I feel like last year I went on a tour to visit some of the ancient ruins here in Lima, and it's just like spooky things galore in there. Like it's just you can take you can look at the size of people back in those days. There's the paintings that they did, the images, the vases and the things that they used to craft. Yeah, it's a lot there to tap into.
Yeah.
And
The imagery that's on it. You know,
Yeah, and
it's
I'll take pictures of all that stuff next time, and then when I get a good batch of it, I'll bring it to your attention, and then we'll go rock
sweet.
it out. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that sounds good. All right,
yeah. No
Elliot,
problem.
thank you so much, brother. Keep on making
Thank you very
amazing
much.
art. Keep it up with your
Thank you.
comic.
Thank you.
Before I let you go, anywhere that these people can find you out there, anywhere you want to let them know?
Yeah, my handle is right here, Nigma85. I'm on Twitter. So if you go on Twitter, you can hit me up. If you're interested, I have a 10-page short story comic that's just for $5, and you can read that. It's in digital format for the moment, and when I do get the crowdfunding, I'll make sure to have physical copies of it. And if you get the digital, then when it comes time to the physical, I'll have your name written down, and I'll be sure to give you something nice for your support early on. And but yeah, I'm on Twitter. I also have my YouTube show, my YouTube channel, and I have a show every Wednesday, every other Wednesday. And so you can catch me on YouTube, you can catch me on Twitter, you can catch me on Instagram also. And yeah, I appreciate the support. And yeah, thank you very much, Pete, for this great opportunity. It means a lot. I know we hung out. Well, I was on your show before for the portfolio feedback,
Oh
and
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it was really great
You're
to
one of
get
the
your feedback.
best. Yeah, one of the
And
best
thank you.
people on there, man. You were great.
And
Talent
thank you
and
very much.
also your receptiveness towards getting helpful critique to
Yeah.
improve. And I'm so glad to see you keep on improving, man. Kick butt.
Yeah, thank you.
Keep
Thank
on
you very
kicking
much, man.
butt. Now in maybe 3 or 4 years, make sure you're not too busy because I might want to hire you.
Yeah, yeah, man. No, my door, as I said back then, and I'll say it now, and I'll say it 4 years from now. My door is completely open for any work you want to throw at me. I have no problem at all.
All
And
right, man.
and yeah, man, I'll never be too busy for Alterna.
Well, thank you again so much, Elliot. Everybody in the chat, thank you guys too.
Thank
Really
you guys.
appreciate you guys being here. I'm going to be on the Alternate Comics channel tomorrow. I've got a bunch of things to talk
Nice.
about. And I also want you guys not only to go and subscribe to Elliot's channel, the link is in the description of the show, but go check out kingcryptid.com. Go check out alternacomics.com. We got a bunch of new things on there, and the King Cryptid campaign also has all over print T-shirts. I'm going to be talking about those and showing them off tomorrow. I got a couple prototypes made, and
Sweet.
those things look beautiful. One of them's got art by Christian Rossi, and the other one's got art by Kier Covington.
Here, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
And
his
those are
art.
on the campaign right now. You can get it either on the Indiegogo or on Alterna Comics site. But I'll be doing that tomorrow. I'll be talking about that tomorrow along with a bunch of other things. So see you then. That'll be 9 o'clock Eastern tomorrow night on the Alterna Comics channel. Everybody take it easy. Have a great one. And Elliot, you keep it real, man. Keep on
You
doing
too,
it.
man. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate you.
All right. Everyone have a great night. See you soon.